Under Biden, the United States has created 10 million jobs, 5 times as many as the last 3 Republican presidents combined. Under Biden, the unemployment rate for Hispanics, for instance, hit an all-time low, and the black jobless rate has fallen by 3%. Biden's record is so strong that Republicans are finally sick of all that winning. Newt Gingrich, who probably did more to break American politics than any other politician, helping to bring about the current Republican hellscape, wrote an entire column about how Republicans need to quit underestimating the president, who just keeps winning. Joining me now is Dean Obeidallah, host of the Dean Obeidallah Show on SiriusXM, and Tim Miller, MSNBC political analyst and writer-at-large at The Bulwark. And Tim, I want to start on this because this rail deal, I think, is an example, we'll just put up a little bit of what's in it, is an example of people really not understanding. Joe Biden's been doing politics since he was 29 years old. He was in the Senate for a lifetime. This guy knows what he's doing. So why do you suppose that it's some sort of news flash that he actually knows how to president? He's been a politician forever.
Yeah, well, 2 things are happening here, I think, on the right. One is they're stuck in their own hermetically sealed echo chamber. Where if you turn on Fox or if you listen to any conservative media on digital media or on radio, all you hear is the Joe Biden senile and right. The squad really running the show and Joe Biden can't do anything. And so you start to believe your own BS after a while. And I think that hurt the Republicans going into the midterms. And another thing that has happened is they haven't figured out a good counter message on some of these bread and butter economic issues like what Joe Biden did right here. Look, for example, as you said, there were 6 Republicans in the Senate, only 3 in the House that voted for this. The Republicans, I thought, were pivoting to becoming more of the working class party, the working man's party, middle America's party. But only 9 Republicans in all of Congress, said that they would go along with the deal that would give 7 measly days of paid sick leave to actual rail workers. They're lost, right? It's like, well, on the one hand, they're still in their old Tea Party, Wall Street world. On the other hand, we're trying to be the working class party, and they kind of don't know how to do that. Meanwhile, Joe Biden has been kind of navigating these issues for a half century now and knows very much, how to navigate them.
Yeah, I mean, he's like the arithmetic mean of Joe Americanness, right? He understands politics and he gets how to get things done. And, to the point, Dean, where Joe Biden and I would say probably with Jim Clyburn, who's still in leadership, hanging on in leadership, they've orchestrated a coup against the whole system in which they create who's going to be president. Putting South Carolina first is a huge move. It's going to make black voters more empowered, which they should. It's going to disempower Iowa, which is so unlike the rest of the country that it really isn't. It doesn't tell you anything about where things are going. And they're going to put other states moving forward, like Nevada and Michigan. It is, and it kind of helps out. If anybody tried to primary Biden, South Carolina was his secret sauce. So good luck with that. So it's actually the use of political power. He understands that too.
I think Joe Biden might know what he's doing. I'm getting that sense, Joy, that he has their sense. Could I just say Joe Biden got a 24% raise for the railroad workers? Can you negotiate my contract at SiriusXM, President Biden? I would love a 24% raise. Look, South Carolina makes all the sense in the world, but I wrote an article begging for my home state of New Jersey to be the first state. You want to test people. Let's see him go to Jersey where expressions like, what are you looking at, is considered a warm embrace. Let's see you make it to the top. People yelling, get off my lawn. But South Carolina makes sense. And look, finally people of color are going to be represented the way they should in our party. The black voters are the key component of the Democratic base, plus others, but that is the core. So I think South Carolina is great. I think Michigan makes sense. Nevada with the Latino vote, very important. But Jersey, we gave you Bruce Springsteen. We gave you Queen Latifah. Give us the first primary and the first group of primaries.
Talk to Biden about it. Biden's like, I can get it done. I want to stay with you for a second, Dean, because speaking of people who don't know what they're doing, Elon Musk, okay, so he takes Kanye off, but he puts the Nazi back on. You happen to know this guy, England. He's a Nazi's Nazi. He's the guy who's the head of the Daily Stormer. We don't know where he is in the world, but doesn't he owe you money?
He owes me $4.1 million because I got a judgment against him because in 2017, he fabricated tweets saying I was involved in terrorism because I wrote an article denouncing Donald Trump for not denouncing white supremacy. And that was before Charlottesville. Andrew England and his buddies at the Daily Stormer, which is named after Hitler's favorite publication called Der Stürmer, fabricated these tweets and said, go confront Dean. So I got a ton of death threats. And I sued him in federal court. And I won $4 million. And I was never going to get the money. The money is to give to organizations that fight bigotry. But Andrew Anglin, you deadbeat Nazi. If you're watching, I want my money and I want it plus interest so I can give it to organizations that fight anti-Semitism, anti-racism, anti-LGBT, anti-Muslim hate. And the idea that Elon Musk would help normalize a Nazi shows you Elon Musk is no friend of the United States of America. And I say that bluntly, and I give it a lot of thought. I don't believe Elon Musk is a friend of this country. He's amplifying divisions, and it's very dangerous.
He's trying to make apartheid great again. He thinks that's what MAGA means, apparently. Meanwhile, on the other side, Tim Miller, you've got the governor of Florida, who the media has already crowned as the next king of the Republican Party. He passed this Don't Say Gay bill that is so frightening to school systems that one of them banned a Hanukkah discussion, because they weren't sure if talking about Hanukkah violates the Christian nationalist rules that they live under now in schools. They had to rescind it because it sparked so much outrage when it got out. But that's how bad this Don't Say Gay bill is. It's morphed into a Don't Say Hanukkah bill at the time when we're talking about rampant anti-Semitism. Well done, DeSantis.
Yeah. Well, for starters, I want to second the deadbeat Nazi needs to pay up. Okay, so if we're doing this live, let's pay that 4.1 million. If you can be on Twitter, you can pay your debts, brother. As far as the Don't Say Gay bill and DeSantis, so I wrote about this back for the Bulwark back in the day. The bill, despite being unnecessarily cruel, despite being gross, despite solving no real problems, right? Like the main flaw of it is it was purposefully vague. It was like meant to create situations like this one, right? Where it kind of had these broad strokes in the way that it was written, so that, teachers and school systems wouldn't be sure whether they would violate it. And so out of precaution, a lot of times they'd say, oh, well, we're not going to, have this book in the library anymore that has 2 gay penguins, or, we're not going to do this math problem that has 2 moms, right? And as the example in the math problem, because it's better safe. Sorry, CYA.
That's right.
And so these, while the bill might not have specifically said something like, oh, don't mention Hanukkah, this happens, right? When you have these overbroad discriminatory bills, these are the kind of results that you get.